Welcome. Here we are with the very first episode of True Sons, now brought to you by the Players Lounge. We are super excited about this partnership. It's a way for us to highlight Mizzou football, anything and everything Mizzou football. If you want to find out about our hot takes, upcoming games, the previous games, you can find it right here on the Players Lounge, man, here with True Sons. We're going to give our takes on football as well as incorporate some stories about our past times at Mizzou. And hopefully in the very near future, having some of the both current and past Mizzou greats. I'm already sitting here with two of them. So can you guys please introduce yourselves?
What's going on, Jeremy Macklin? Man, your latest college football Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah.
I knew Mac was gonna go first. It's your boy
Yeah.
Sean Weatherspoon, aka Spoon,
Mm-hmm.
former Mizzou Tiger, man. We just here posted up, True Sons. It's time to get it.
All right, man. So let's get right into it. The season is upon us. I feel like it took forever for us to even get back to college football. College football happens to be my favorite sport. I know a lot of people who are like, man, I prefer the NFL because you don't have some of the mistakes. But I feel like the mistakes in college football is what makes it great, because you don't know what you're going to get from Saturday to Saturday. And this week, we actually play on a Thursday night, man, versus Murray State. So let's talk about Mizzou, kind of where we are right now as a team, how the state feels about the team, the buzz around the team, coming off of a great year where we are Cotton Bowl champions, man. We happened to beat Ohio State. Pretty low scoring game, but we still pulled it out. Let's talk about the buzz we are hearing now about Mizzou.
Yeah, man, you mentioned something in state. I'm in state, so I got a
Mm-hmm.
chance to kind of have a front row seat to it, man, and
Mm-hmm.
and also being on the high school football scene as well. So it's a lot of buzz, man. Very similar, very similar to after
Very
our
similar.
'07 season. So guys are excited. I think the community's excited. Drink has done a heck of a job, really putting his footprint in Missouri, right? Both
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis and Kansas City. Uh, he's done a great job, man, from a recruiting standpoint. And like you said, coming off a 11 win season, everybody's excited. So in state, man, the buzz is real. It's
Yeah.
loud, and I think people are ready to get it going.
Likewise, man. I actually had a chance to go to campus, this past summer, and I went up and shot the
Mm-hmm.
promo video. So for all you fans that'll be at the game, you might see your boy back on the jumbotron. And while I was there, everybody was just super amped up about,
Mm-hmm.
this upcoming season. It kind of feel like, we did such a good job last year. It kind of seems like no one's really respecting us. They're calling our schedule easy, like we don't play in the SEC, just like
Yeah.
the other teams in the SEC. We can't pick the schedule. We got to go out and take care of business. But it seems like Coach Drink really got his foot, he's got his foothold on the state of Missouri, and everybody's really excited to see what the Tigers are going to do. And it's kind of weird because we've only had one winning season with him. But
Yeah.
the one we had last year was enough for us to just say, all right, Drink can do no wrong. I feel like
Yeah.
we're gonna come out this year. And it's like when you got that rookie quarterback in his last year before you got to pay him his money. We hit the portal, got all the guys, that we need to come in and play right now. It's a little
Mm-hmm.
different than when we were coming in, where high school guys trying to figure out if they're gonna play or not. We went out and got some guys from other teams that are looking to come in and contribute right away. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the expectation is to definitely have another winning season. But for me, it's playoff or bust. I want to see us host a
Ooh.
playoff game. That's my goal for the Tigers this year.
Okay. So, you mentioned the SEC. Like, we're not in the SEC playing in what I would consider personally the toughest conference there is in college football. And it's been that way for a pretty good while now. None of us played in the SEC, but all three of us were undefeated versus SEC teams while we're in the Big 12. Talk about that difference. Just recollect on our time. I know we faced Ole Miss, we faced Arkansas when they had McFadden and Felix Jones, and we were victorious. So talk about some of the differences you've seen in our Big 12 run versus what we're seeing now. A whole new kind of era of football for the state of Missouri in the SEC.
No, I think it's completely different. I think right now, I think if you go back to when we played, I think there was probably an argument as to whose was the best conference. I
Mm-hmm.
think right now, I think it's definitely the SEC top to bottom. And then when you add Oklahoma and Texas, and seeing what both of those programs did last year, and the expectations now that Texas has, uh, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I think
Yeah.
Michigan was definitely the best team in football last year, top to
Mm-hmm.
bottom. But overall, the conference, man, week in and week out, we got a chance to be front and center last year at that Georgia game
Mm-hmm.
on the sideline and seeing, Georgia and Mizzou, kind of go at it, but just seeing the size, seeing the speed, a bunch of NFL talent on that field.
Oh yeah.
It's a different breed, man. So, you know, there's no such thing as an easy schedule in the SEC, right?
No.
There's just no such thing. So,
Just not, yeah.
you gotta bring it each and every week. So I'm excited to see the guys get going.
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree. It's still that prove it mentality for me.
Yeah.
Going to Mizzou, back in '06, signing with them not being like the top team in the even the Big 12 North at the time, and us going up there and establishing ourselves was something that was heavy on my mind when I went to school. And I get that sense now, even though coming off a great season last year, everybody's really excited about going out and seeing if we can do it again. And it seems like spring went well.
Mm-hmm.
Training camp has been going pretty smooth. I know Drink don't allow the media to go out there and watch
Yeah.
the
It's
scrimmages.
really unconventional. Yeah. Yeah.
He said he's trying to, keep his competitive edge. And when I really think about it, I got to respect it because, with Twitter and Instagram now, you can watch a team's whole practice, right through the
Yeah,
beat, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's so easy.
I respect that, but I definitely think the SEC is the premier conference in football. Adding Texas, adding Oklahoma. I mean, who else is coming? Maybe Michigan will be here next year. But I think one thing that's interesting is everybody said Michigan had an easy schedule last year. And the Big Ten
They
is
did.
not as strong. Top to bottom. But for them to come out and win it all says a lot about their conference as well.
It
But
does.
we got enough on our plate for this
Yeah,
season,
we
man.
do.
It's
Yeah,
some
we do.
games on there that definitely stick out to you, like, man. But I look at us being a double digit, winning team just by glancing at our schedule. So it's going to be on us to go
Mm.
out there and put it down.
So let me get that. I like that. So let me get some quick predictions. I'll go first, just so I can lead the way. I don't want you guys even saying anything opposite to what I'm gonna say. As a true son, I have to say it's an undefeated season for us. Some people might say, "Yo, you're dreaming," but that's the only way I can operate as a now fan of where we played. I don't want us to lose a game, right? Now, of course, we have a couple of games on there that you mark in the schedule like, all right, if I'm nervous for a few of them, but I'm gonna pick undefeated, man. I'm gonna pick undefeated until the playoff or national championship. What's your take, Spoon?
Man, for me, I mean, that's my goal too. My goal is
Mm-hmm.
to go out there and rock it and be 12-0. But when I look at the schedule realistically, I see a few
Mm-hmm.
games that just it's gonna be some tough games, man. I see
Yeah,
Oklahoma coming to our place. It's kind of some blood there from the Big 12 that the
I will be
SEC
there.
the SEC will. Oh, let me go and get my flight. Let me see
Yeah,
what I let me see. I gotta keep mine, man, because I think that's definitely the day you want to be in Como.
oh
That
yeah,
game that game scares me a bit. And actually going down to A&M, bro. Going to
yeah,
A&M is one of the
Yeah,
ones that like, ooh, we got to come through on that one. But
we do.
I just
when you look at our team, we got a lot of heat on offense. I think the defense is gonna have to keep that trend that it had those 6 games. If we do that,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna like the way we're looking when the end of the season comes around.
yeah. No,
Definitely.
I just pulled the schedule up. You know, Oklahoma coming to Missouri, right? That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mizzou going to Alabama, right? That's going to be a tough one, right? That's going
Mm-hmm.
to be a
Yeah,
tough one. And then the one outside of the SEC that catches my eye is Boston College, right? I
Yeah.
think they're supposed to be improved. And if you go back to last year, uh, Mizzou played Memphis in the Dome, one score game. Mizzou
Mm-hmm.
played Middle Tennessee at home, one score game. Well, really, 4 point game. So I
Mm-hmm.
think those are some of the things that um, I think you kind of got to work through. But at the end of the day, I
Yeah.
think good football teams find ways to win those type of games, and I think that's what they did. Um, so I think those are the 3 games that I kind of circled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Texas A&M, whole new regime, right? Got a whole new
Right. We're not sure where they're
different
gonna be
pieces.
this year.
That's a whole new football team, right? So many
Yeah.
people went out, coming back in. Um, so I think those 3. I think Boston College coming to us early.
Yeah.
I think going to Alabama, and I think Oklahoma coming to Missouri. I think those are the 3. Those are the 3 big ones.
That you
hey, I
have
gotta
circled.
Yeah.
I gotta point out one more thing. Why are
Mm-hmm.
we going to play UMass at UMass? That kind of creeps me out a little bit because if you think about when we were in school, I remember a team that Drink has blood with. Well, he was got his paper with.
Hmm.
Appalachian State went up and took
Oh
care of
yeah,
Michigan in one of the biggest upsets that we've ever
Of
seen. And
their
for
history, yeah.
us, and they were at home. So for us to be
Yeah.
going to UMass, it kind of, I'm like, man, I got to do my research on the
yeah.
Minutemen.
Yeah.
I think that's what they call.
Uh-huh.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know nothing about UMass. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Why we got to
Well,
go up
look,
there? Weird.
I don't know. We are the come on now. They should come to us. But now that we're talking about the schedule, let's kind of dive into the extended playoff. I know we kind of mentioned strength of schedule kind of being an issue, maybe some early criticism that we might receive throughout the year, and we just saw Florida State take an L
Yeah, yeah.
week one. So if we come out, we have Murray State Thursday. If we come out and it's even close, but we win, do we stay at 11? Do we have to blow teams out in these non-conference games to even crack the top 10? How does that work for us?
We win if we win, right? Let's say everybody wins in front of us. When
Mm-hmm.
Florida State losing, if we win, we go to 10. I just
You think
think
it's that easy?
I think it's that easy. Yes, I think if we
I'm not
win, we go
sure
to
who's
10.
at 12 and 13 and who they're playing. If they have a tougher matchup,
True, but I think
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just too early to do all the
It
jumping
is.
and leaping and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And then also, once again, you could talk about the schedule. Like I said, I got it up, but if we go 10 wins with this schedule, right? I think even if we're not in the championship game, I still think we're in the playoffs. So like
Mm,
I think 10 wins with this schedule gets you in the playoffs. Now if you go 10-2, you're in the championship game, and then you lose the championship game, I think
that's tough.
then there's a question. But I think 10 wins, right? 2 losses, I think that gets you in the playoffs.
Mm, mm,
It's interesting that you say that, Matt, because I back again, hate to refer back, but there was a two loss team that won the national championship the same year we had those lofty goals. I
Oh yeah.
remember LSU
yeah.
handling their business against Ohio State, and
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of were penalized for playing in the Big 12 championship game, and we only lost to Oklahoma all year.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for
Yeah.
some reason, we didn't get a BCS bowl. I mean, the
Which
main
is
thing to do
crazy.
is just take care of your business and go win the conference. You don't got to worry about it. But that would
Right.
be the best way to get that, a bye. Top four teams get a bye. And,
Mm-hmm.
other than that, you'll be able to host a game if you have to, say you're 5 or 6 or so I forget how
Yeah.
many more games. But it's a great opportunity for us to go out and really put ourselves in position. So if we do what we did last year, I think we'll be looking at least being in the college football playoff.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that we're on the subject of wins, let's talk about some of these key players that will help us get to this 10-win, 11-win season that we're hoping to have. 12-win, if you ask me. Who are some of the names? I know we obviously have some of the bigger names in our quarterback in Cook, and then our all-world wideout in Burden. Talk about their impact, and then Spoon, I'll come to you and talk about some of the defensive players to look out for in the upcoming season.
Yeah, you just touched on it. Brady Cook. The reason why I love Cook, man, it seems like he was under a lot of fire a couple years ago, and I
Yeah,
feel like whether or not it gets said, but I feel like Garcia came in there, a bunch of different quarterbacks came in there, you know, thinking that maybe that was going to be their job, right? And
yeah.
not only did he but he went on to have his best season, right? So like my hat goes off to him. I've gotten to know him a little bit. He was really close
Hmm.
friends with my little cousin. We've talked. Seeing him excel and seeing him really mature on the football field has been a pretty cool thing to watch. And now
Hmm.
he's one of the key players. He's one of I would say he's on the top half of quarterbacks in the SEC.
Easily.
He's been balling. You
Hmm.
just talked about Luther. Uh, he doesn't have a weakness in his game, right?
No.
People want to compare him to Debo, but I think I think he's more versatile. I think he can go out wide and run routes and break you down and get in and out of breaks and take the top off. But at
Hmm.
the same time, you give him a jet sweep, he runs like a running back. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I think
You
that's a
actually, we
no-brainer.
came to watch you coach. I think year like before Luther even committed to Mizzou, and you
Mhm.
brought his name up. You were like, "Hey, this is the kid,"
Yeah, he's
and
different.
he
Like,
was, I think, a junior then. Yeah.
I've seen him. I've seen him. You know what I mean? Like he was different then. So
Hmm.
he's getting all the praise he's getting is very deserving.
Definitely.
The receiving core I think is the strong point.
Hmm.
Theo, I think he's gonna have a chance to play on Sundays, 50-50 ball winner. Uh,
Definitely.
the two that people aren't talking about, of course, Mookie, seasoned vet, but like, I'm looking forward to Marquise Johnson, seeing him take the next
Yes.
step. the
Speed.
speedster.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Josh Manning, right,
Mm-hmm.
going into his second year. I'm interested to see the step that he takes because he's a good player, right? Saw him coming out of high school, liked him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see his role and see kind of where he fit in. Uh, but yeah, like you said, man, I mean, that's unspoken. We brought in the transfers at running back,
Yeah.
uh, big 6'7" tight end in Norfleet. Like they got the skill guys.
Yeah.
End up getting the tackle from Oklahoma, Caden Green, got him to come back
He
home.
came
In
home.
state,
Came
yeah,
home.
came
Yeah.
home. So I mean, like I said, man, Drink in the state of Missouri, Drink is not only doing what he's supposed to do. I think he's doing that and some. Like
Yeah.
he's got the top dogs right now.
You got to win the state. You got to win
Yeah.
the state. Spoon, talk to me about defense. We can mention we're it's kind of a new era for our defense. Losing
Most
our D
definitely.
coordinator. Talk to me about defense. What are you seeing? What are you hoping
Well,
for?
you know, I like the way that we played defense toward the end of the season last year. So
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to see Coach Baker go down to LSU, and but that's what happens. You know, when your team is playing well, you're having
Yeah.
success. People are going to come in and steal some of the people that really
Mm-hmm.
help make the train go. I'm looking at Coach I think it's Corey Batoon coming
Yep.
in from my daughter's name, Corey. So I'm
There
already
we
like
go.
on his side, But
Yeah.
what he was able to do at South Alabama was, have a defense for over 3 years that was a dominant defense. They took the ball
Mm-hmm.
away. I think they had 22 takeaways last year. Finished top 30 in total scoring, top 30 in
Mm-hmm.
takeaways, and those 22 takeaways would have led the SEC. So that kind of shows me that that's a culture of, it's all about the ball, and it's not cliche.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're really, working at it, getting the ball out, and I think that's why Coach Drink went down and found a guy who's been a coach in college football and high school for about 30 something years. I think he
Resume.
has the experience. Bringing a guy with him, one of the linebackers, Khalil Jacobs, who
Uh-huh.
played at South Alabama, that can come in and kind of get the guys up
Kind
to
of
the
usher it in.
standard of what his program is about. Because they call it the death row defense at Mizzou.
Mm-hmm.
This guy he's new to death row, but I mean we got to have the same type of execution. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah. Oh
We got to
yeah.
go out there and do what we need to do. And I look in the middle. We lost four or five guys on this defense that were drafted
Yeah.
last year.
Corner,
And when
safety,
you think,
and
yeah, yeah,
kicker.
when you think of that, first round pick Darius Robinson for the
Uh-huh.
Cardinals was kind of the guy who everybody got behind. So I'm
Oh
looking
yeah.
at a guy named Johnny Walker Jr.
Oh
The,
yeah.
the the man's got a
Love the
name.
name.
The man's got a name. He has a mean streak too. That's one thing
Yeah,
I
he does.
always notice about his game. He might lose it a little bit and get
Mm-hmm.
a penalty just because he's just fired up. But I think that senior year and you're that leader, that captain. Everybody's following you. He has
Mm-hmm.
the NFL type of body. When you see him go out
Yeah.
there, he's all about his business, man. I think he's going to be a focal point of our defense and the cog in the middle, along with
Mm-hmm.
Williams coming back, Christian Williams in the middle. I think that's going to bode well for us.
Yeah.
We pretty much we suit up, 4 or 5 linebackers that are going to be playing next year. I don't know who's starting. Depth chart
Yeah.
came out and says either or. So that means that's a good problem to have. You got Jacobs coming
Great
in.
problem. Mm-hmm.
You got Chuck Hicks. You got Newsome. These guys
Mm-hmm.
are guys that contributed a little bit last year, but we lost Hopper. We lost
Yeah, we
we lost a
did.
lot of production on that side, but I think
Mm-hmm.
these guys are going to come back and really go out and show what they can do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see how the cornerback situation
Yeah.
ends up because we got a lot of corners, but Rakestraw going to the league last year is something that you gotta have your eye on that. But a lot of guys had to fill in for him last year when he was out. So I'm looking at
Yeah.
number 12. I think
People
his
who
name
have
is
played.
Dre Norwood.
Uh-huh.
Norwood. He stepped out there and has some pretty good film out there that I like, man. And hopefully that just carries over and we can
Mm-hmm.
come out and execute. But I think if you take the ball away, then everybody got to take notice because
Yeah.
you're taking away those possessions and giving it back to an explosive offense. Like Brady gonna cook over there, and
Brady
I
gonna
think
cook.
for me, when I look at the running back position, it looks like we're gonna be doing it by committee. 2 transfers
Mm-hmm.
coming in. I botched the names, but
Mm-hmm.
these guys, one coming in from I think SMU, and
Mm-hmm.
then we had another one coming in from
Georgia
App State.
State. Georgia State.
Georgia State. Okay. Well, we got.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one from App State too. It's going to be Noel. I think he's primed to be the starter. But
Mm-hmm.
we lost a lot of production, so we got to figure it out. Last year,
Yeah.
Schrader got the ball all the time, so these guys are going to have to do it a little bit differently. But I think that's going to be the key for Brady Cook, because in the early preseason last year, I was still not sold on Brady Cook. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, we almost lost to Memphis. We
Yeah.
almost lost to North Dakota. I'm like, oh man, we got to get it going. So I think if we could see early on that we can run the ball and he can still do what he does, and we can win these preseason games by more than 4 points like we did last year, kind of
Mm-hmm.
toward the end of the year when we were beating people by 12 points, then
Yeah.
I think we'll have a good indication on how good we can be this year.
One of the things that corner position, we brought in Toriano Pride from Clemson, right? He's
We
also a
Oh
did.
yeah,
St. Louis kid, so
Oh
he's a
yeah,
yeah,
transfer
sure
homegrown
that's
is.
talent.
slated to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, Frank, like you just said, I know you said, but until one of those running backs takes control, they're gonna do it by committee. But you see
Mm-hmm.
what happens when a running back does, because before Cody took control, it was him and guy who
Can't remember
backed
his
him
name.
up.
Uh,
Pete.
Yeah,
Pete. Yeah.
backed him up. So and
Hmm.
then there's a redshirt freshman Jamal Roberts, I believe, that's in the mix a little bit too. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So talk to me about what it takes on both offense and defense, especially with defense with the coordinator coming from somewhere that's not the SEC. What's it take as a defense? You mentioned takeaways, but talk to me about identity as a defense. What's it take to be successful in the SEC? This is hard nosed football.
Well, the SEC, man. You got to be strong in the trenches, and
Yeah.
that's a little bit alarming.
Mm-hmm. It's scary.
There was a
Yeah.
kid. There was a kid that I saw transferring from UGA, Darius Smith. Man, he actually tore his knee up,
Mm-hmm.
um, about a week ago, and I was really looking forward to seeing what he could bring, because this kid trains at my gym here in Atlanta, and I'm like, man, I see him in a Mizzou shirt. I walk up, I'm like, this kid like 6'5", rangy athlete, reminds me of an Alden Smith type of build. So I was looking forward to seeing him. We got the kid came in from Michigan State. He's a big defensive end. He's going to play to the field. I'm
Mm-hmm.
botching his name. I'm botching his name right now, but he's playing opposite of Johnny Walker, and
Yeah.
he's a guy. He's a guy as well. But we got to make sure that we sure up what's going on in the middle. We got McClellan, who's joining us from Florida,
Mm-hmm.
up there with Christian Williams. That's going to sure it up. And like I said, four linebackers. That four linebackers that are interchangeable is what it seems. If these guys can go out and learn the coach's new system and show that they have if they show that they're responsible enough he's able to roll out everything, and
Yeah.
I think we stop that run, we'll get some opportunities on the back end, and I just don't believe in college quarterbacks a lot, man. When you stop that run,
It's
and
true.
that's my thing. You say college football is your favorite. Sometimes I just like, oh my goodness, man, when they can't do something and they
Yeah.
just force it, and they just, I got to turn the TV off. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that we can make those SEC quarterbacks who are probably not going to be NFL quarterbacks. We can
Mm-hmm.
make them just throw that ball up, and we can scoop and score, pick it off, and just do a little something extra for the offense to take a little pressure off
Mm-hmm.
of them.
Mac, what's it take? I know we are considered the high-powered offense, not quite like you would have seen of the 2008 nines in the Big 12, where it's just we're slinging all day, and yeah, that is
Yeah.
high-powered. What's it take in the SEC to have a successful offense?
I think first and foremost, I think taking care of the football. I think if you go down and you look at the two games that Mizzou did lose last year, there was a big turnover in the Georgia game that got us.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big turnover in the LSU game that got us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
And JT
uh,
Daniels, yeah,
yeah, that's how I knew he was a real deal. Now,
yeah,
he
yeah.
ruined my Hall of Fame
Oh my
game. Now
goodness,
I'm a little upset
that's
about
true.
that, but no, just taking
Third and
care of the
five all day.
taking care of the football, man. You take care of the football,
Mm-hmm.
man, with what we have on defense, and then also
Mm-hmm.
with what we're able to do on offense, control the ball, right? Run the
Mm-hmm.
football, control the ball at the line of scrimmage, right? Kirby does a great job of taking his shots, right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal football-minded family, right? With his brother Kellen, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
Kirby, like I'm sure they just bounce ideas off of each other all day
Oh
long,
yeah.
right? But he does a good job of setting Brady up to be successful. And another thing is, of course, Luther's gonna get his touches, but not being afraid to use Brady in the run game. And I think that was big for us at
Mm.
some big moments last year.
Underrated
He
runner.
is a
Yes.
sneaky athlete.
Yes.
You know, was able to make some plays when the pocket broke down. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking some Q runs, some Q counters, some Q powers. Some read option game. I
Yeah.
think using him in the run game, I think will be beneficial for us.
Most definitely.
Get down, Brady. Get down,
You
though.
got to stay safe. You
Get
got
your
to stay safe.
yards. Get down, brother. We need you.
All right. So, but before we end it, let's talk quickly about Murray State. Our predictions, since we do have to see them week one, Thursday night. I know we'll all be in front of our TVs. What are we expecting to see? Any jitters? And even talk about some of the jitters you may have had on your first games. I remember my first game. I was primarily a special teams guy, but the jitters were still the same. You know what I mean? It's you're still playing in front of 60, 70,000 people. Even if you have 4 plays that game, it's still a bit nerve-wracking, or it can
Yeah.
be. You don't want to mess up. You want, because you got to come back and watch film. So talk to me about your first game and what you expect to see out of Mizzou and their first game this season.
Well, first and foremost, I got to go ahead and jump off the porch because my first game was against Murray State, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full
I know
circle.
y'all old and y'all don't remember the scene
Josh
now,
Jones. I remember. Josh Jones, my high school running back.
The tailback.
My high school
hey,
teammate
and
was
I
a
was
running back.
primarily a special teams guy, coming in as a true freshman. So you get that first play. I remember running down on kickoff return and getting my block on Austin Lane, who was an NFL player that came out of Murray State. And I remember Murray State has some talent. And like you said, Jeremy, your high school teammate Josh Jones played tailback there. We knew we had to get him because Mac put a hit out on him, so we had to go. We had to go and
That's
drop
not
him.
true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
No, it's
You
not
did
true,
say
but
he was a tough runner.
I did.
We had to
Yeah.
show out.
I remember playing Murray State and us coming into the season, and they had one formation where they actually ran power every time they lined up this way. So hopefully Coach Batoon got a nice little nugget he can get to guys so we can get some free run throughs for our linebackers to knock the ball off someone. And I think if we go out and just play our game against Murray State, I think we'll definitely win by 2 scores or more.
Okay.
But at the same time, we needed that preseason last year to grow, and that's it's kind of what it seemed like last year. We were a little bit like I said, I just wasn't sold on how we were going to be based on our
Early on,
preseason.
yeah.
But I would like to come out and at home and really jump on Murray State and send them back to where they come from. That'd be nice for me.
What about you, Mac? Talk to me about your first game, which is like a coming out party for you because you come off an injury, and what you expect to see out of Mizzou.
Yeah, my first game, I'm back at home in the dome. I had to wait an extra year because I got hurt. So, for me, man, I was just excited. A little nervous, but I was excited. And we all know how the first game is. There might be some unusual penalties, right? Some things that people do that they normally wouldn't do. Maybe jump the snap count or whatever the case may be. But I think this is going to be a little bit different. I think early on, I thought we struggled offensively, right, in the early part of last season, Spoon. I think we know who we are offensively. I think we know what we got. I think Kirby and Brady have a great relationship. I think he knows exactly what he wants from Brady and what Brady needs to do. I don't think it's close, honestly. I think we take care of business. I think it's I'll give them 45-17, right? And I think we take care of business, and I think we're on the next week. So, but man, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. I think here's what people don't understand, right? Where there's hype, right? 9 times out of 10, it's deserving, right?
That's
like
true.
they put themselves in this position, right? Now, whether people want to believe it or not, that's on them. But they put themselves in this position because they were able to win 10 games last year. They were able to beat Ohio State. 11 games last year. They were able to beat Ohio State, in the Cotton Bowl. Yeah. So, it's warranted, right? So now I'm ready to see it in action.
Yeah, it's different.
It is warranted. And one thing about it, I just love that people still not saying like, "Oh, Missouri gonna ball this year." So it allows them to keep their edge. Not drink Kool-Aid. Let's stay locked in. Let's really go get what we want because last year was the taste, but it's more out there. And this year is a lot more opportunities for other teams to get into that playoff. And we got to be one of those teams, man. I'm ready to take the kids down.
It's the weirdest thing ever, right? Because there's buzz, right? But then when somebody says Mizzou's going to be really good, it's a hot take. So, like, which one is it? So, let's make your mind up.
Like, pick one. Come on.
Pick one.
Are we
You know what I
going
mean?
Yeah. Well, look, fellas, episode 1 was phenomenal. I can't wait to get back with my brothers again next week. We're going to do it again, man, to talk about our next game after Murray State.
We got to recap this one, too. Recap this Murray State game.
State went, to make sure that
absolutely.
I think Max said, what'd you say, 45-17 to see if he
45-17.
Sports number two.
Listen. I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say something outrageous, but
Don't go crazy.
I
Don't go
tamed it a
crazy.
little bit. I tamed it a
Yeah,
little
Hey,
we're
I
bit.
not.
tell
We're
you
not gonna
this. I
taint it.
tell you this. I just want that offense to outscore me when I play Murray State because I blocked the punt for a safety in that first game. So we at least got to
Okay.
get three on the board. You know, Mac
I'm with
ain't the
it.
only one scored in his first
I'm with
game
it.
now.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, yeah. All right, fellas, man. Look, enjoyed it. Can't wait to do it again next week. This is once again True Sons brought to you by TPL. We'll see you guys next week.